remember when I finally got hold of a Genesis in the mid-90s, and the first game I rented for it was Phantasy Star 4. Right away, I knew I was in for one hell of an epic space opera of a game, which of course it was. Unfortunately, I rented a copy with a busted battery and thus had to start over every time I turned it back on! The next Genesis game I rented was something I had hoped would fill that need for a space opera. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Crossroads of Time. Some balk when I say that Deep Space Nine is my favorite of the 5 series. The original and Enterprise were cut short, Next Generation had a clunky start, Voyager's writers stopped trying for the last 2 seasons, but DS9 felt like it had it all. I still can't believe the writers flew by the seat of their pants. Its 7 seasons feel as intricately planned as the 7 Harry Potter books. Plus, Sisko is probably my favorite of all the Star Trek captains. Avery Brooks always acts like a ridiculous ham every time he opens his mouth, yet is still so awesome at the same time.
Targeting the Cardassians. Because Earth isn't the key to the Alpha Quadrant. The wormhole is. And whoever controls Deep Space Nine controls the wormhole. A Bajoran space station under Federation control might just be the safest place in the galaxy.
Commander, this is extortion.
Yes, it is.
So, imagine how my paw was shattered beyond all repair upon realizing this game is as fun as scarfing down a Mugado turd soaked in the piss of species 8472. Back then, the game led me on, starting out promising enough. Side-scroller format, playing as then Commander Sisko, exploring ops in the Promenade in semi-RPG style. I thought, hey, this is kinda cool. Talking to characters, there's this running gag with Nog and Jake Sisko trying to get a business off the ground. Oh, there's one! Ooh, I'm gonna punch out that big ugly lump. But this right here should have told me there'd be problems. Having to push B first to get into a boxing stance, then B again to punch. Great, another game where I can't run and attack. Oh, am I gonna be pegged as a racist if I point out that Sisko's jumping animation makes him look like a chimp? So, after some poking around, you get to the first mission, stopping some Bajoran religious whackbags from setting time bombs that'll decimate half the station. Right off the fucking bat, the game's clunky controls stymie you, and guess what else? Not only is it one of those games where a fall from a predetermined height equals death, but that height is ridiculously short! Come on, gotta make that lift below end. Oh! Come on, okay, carefully just... Oh! And if you die here, you gotta start the bomb clearing portion all over again. Worse yet is how later on they're hidden and you need a tricorder to find them, and then there's a section where you need a phaser to take out some shit blocking your tricorder. And I swear, the animation for when Sisko is disposing of a grenade is really disturbing. When I first played this as a kid, it took me over an hour to successfully get all the bombs without dying. But being determined to get something out of my rental, I stuck with it. After Sisko does a bit more digging, he dopes out where the rest of those terrorist bastards fled, and sends Major Kira after them. At this point, my hopes picked up again, playing as different characters, some gameplay variety promising some Gradia-style schmuppiness, most agreeable. Now, once we get through the wormhole, we can... Wow! Once again, sci-fi TV shows prove you don't fuck around with wormholes.
What the hell are you doing? In the middle of my backswing?
And it just gets better. Guess what? Before taking another stab at the runabout mission, you have to go through all of Sisko's bits again. That means running around talking to everyone again. And I swear, whenever I do make it through to the Gamma Quadrant, my shields have only a sliver of energy left. Before you catch up to your quarry, you gotta chase them through fucking asteroids! God damn! Not even Voyager goes through this many shuttles at a time! Ah, Kira, you silly frigid bitch. We're in it with the Federation now. We gotta ask ourselves, what would Picard do? And I think I have the answer.
A British tar is a soaring soul, as free as a mountain bird. His energetic fist should be ready to resist a dictatorial word. Sing, Wolf, sing.
You can both suck my riches.
Oh, get a sense of humor.
His nose should pant,
and his lips should curl,
his cheeks should flame,
and his brow should furl,
his bosom should heave,
and his heart should glow,
and his fist be ever ready for a knockdown blow. His foot should stamp, and his throat should throb, his hair should curl, and
Okay, after Kira finally cripples the fleeing ship and Odo starts some enhanced interrogation techniques, like making them listen to Alanis Morissette while she's blasted on Romulan ale, we're back to playing as Cisco, doing more of the same, talking to everyone, figuring out what fuckness now awaits the emissary. Soon enough, Cisco has to beam down to Bajor in the middle of a swamp to look for Kaiopaka and shit. And here's where I finally gave up as a teenager. The bog is riddled with bottomless pits you can't even see! I'll use this opportunity to say this game does give you simple passwords for continuing, but once again, you're stuck at the start of Cisco's bits for the third act, running around and talking to everyone all over again. And once you're finally back on Bajor, all that monotonous retreading will have to be done again should you fall in one of the many invisible pits! But recently, I've picked up the game again and found that all the pits are right in front of rock platforms. That helps a bit, but players are still guaranteed to be sent back to the start of Mission 3 more than once before that becomes apparent. After that, it's some Bajoran temple with obscure door and switch puzzles. Ugh. I know Star Trek is supposed to be cerebral and shit, but come on! Then it's through the terrorist camp, complete with confusing layout and annoying fan units in the background that hurt you. Yes, I can feel the confusion and tension, clinging to me like a pair of Tiberian bats. Oh, come on, I was joking! After Kaiopaka is finally located and beamed up, there's still more to do, like climb down these cliffs to take out a generator. At least there was a checkpoint back after that swamp, cause these chunky controls don't make the climb a picnic. And of course, once it goes, there's an elaborate escape sequence climbing back up, in spite of how Cisco can just be beamed up. Oh, and if the developers were shooting for that Super Metroid vibe, they obviously forgot that part of the thrill of a Metroid escape run stems from controls good enough to make an escape within the scope of foreseeable reality! If, by the will of the prophets, you escape this fuckness, the last obstacle is taking out the machine replicating those goddamn bombs. You'd think using a phaser to blast the bomb so the explosions also deal damage to the machine would give you some satisfaction, but no. The wretched, stiff controls yet again take all the enjoyment out of it. In fact, so far this whole game does a bang-up job of making gameplay scenarios that could appeal to Trekkies downright mundane and frustrating. But Trekkies, who by some miracle make it to the fourth act, will be teased by a glimmer of hope, hinting at something epic. Surprise, surprise. Turns out that the Cardassian ship docked at DS9 was secretly funding those terrorists to tarnish Bajor's image. So to beam past their shields and get to the goal, Cisco has to use one of the orbs to enter his memories, traveling back in time to get the proper transporter protocols. In this instance, such loopiness could be forgiven since Cisco is sent back to Wolf 359! Except that even in this epic setting, it's the same old shit. Only now the Bajorans are replaced with board drones. They can't be punched out, naturally, and will adapt to your phasers. Think it's a breeze to retune your phasers so their modulation rotates? Of course not. You have to find some terminal to make that setting for you, and lo and behold, not every terminal can do that. So as before, Cisco's basically a rat in a maze, running around with no clue where to go and what to do as shit's blowing up everywhere. At this point, any self-respecting Trekkie would have thrown the Genesis controller in disgust. If the developers squandered all the opportunities afforded by a Wolf 359 level, then all hope is lost! But since I'm a sorry tool who thought DS9 easily topped Next Generation, I pressed on, and found the fifth and final act starts with Odo! Now we're talking! I always found Odo to be more fascinating than Spock and Data, and of course much more than the female versions of Spock and Data later made for lonely fanboys to beat off to. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you fucking joking? Here we have one of the most compelling Trek characters ever, with the coolest ability that lets him do just about anything, and what do these incompetent boobs have him do in the game? Turn into a rat and flow through ventilation ducts? That's it? This is Tholian testicles! It's not just that this is a bad game based on a beloved franchise. It's that it's a terrible game that could have been good. Star Trek is not an easy thing to base a game on, but the ideas were there. Multiple characters, varied gameplay, a mix of action and puzzle solving, and a good story true to the TV show. But the developer squandered every opportunity, teasing us with missions that might be cool and entertaining, but just frustrate to no end. Every Trekkie would view each level as being pissed on in the face by a disgruntled Andorian just a little bit harder. But for me, as a big DS9 fan, that last mockery of Odo was an extra kick in the balls! If there was any justice in this world, the developers and all copies of this game would be tossed into the prison of the Paw Wraith to burn for eternity! But I just settle for all copies being jettisoned into the cold vacuum of space, so this horse's ass of a game can't make anyone suffer ever again. A game I can only give a 3 out of 10.